Hi, this is Little Dwarf playing games while rambling incoherently into a microphone. Why? Well, just because I can, and I continue with Dishonored, Blind. I'm supposed to go to bed, so let's do that. Yeah, I'll go to sleep now. Somewhere else, I'm going to have a dream, or like a nightmare. Yep, pretty dreamlike. The whole building is sort of dissolving into a great nothingness.
Hello, Corvo. Your life has taken a turn, has it not? The Empress is dead. Her precious daughter Emily is lost somewhere in the city, and you will play a pivotal role in the days to come. For this, I have chosen you and drawn you into the void. I am the outsider, and this is my mark. There are forces in the world and beyond the world, great forces that men call magic. And now, these forces will serve your will. Use this newfound power, my gift to you. Come find me.
So from context of some of the... okay, power blink. Press this to execute a fast and stealthy forward dash through the world. You can use it to move upward, but the distance is reduced. Aiming at the ledges allows you to blink forward and climb up. Hold to target your destination with precision. A blue sphere indicates that you should reach your destination. A blue arrow indicates that you will climb when you reach your destination. Okay, let's test that out. Okay, so it's basically like a short-range teleport. But how do I cancel it? Okay, F. The in-game texts kind of suggest that the outsider is like Satan in the state religion. Like, they were warning me about the outsider, although the messages in the sewers said the outsider walks amongst us, which can be read as a warning, or it can be read as some kind of a refutation of like the lack of his power. It can be read as an affirmation of the fact that he's real and he's doing stuff. You cannot save her, you cannot save her. You cannot save her. Okay. Piero's spiritual remedy. Yeah, that's what I was talking about in the last episode. His elixir is like a mana potion, as opposed to Sokolov's health elixir. Okay, she's getting kidnapped. Corvo, I am very sad. They say that you're dead like mother, but I'm going to put this note in a bottle and throw it into the river because I do not believe them. Living here is very strange. I do not like it. Please come for me if you can. Well, I know this is a dream or a hallucination, but that was a remarkably unhelpful letter as it comes to establishing how to actually rescue her. You know, she didn't offer any kind of specifics that would actually help me find her. Okay, that's a map. I guess it's a map of the Empire or at least parts of it. There is Dunwall here, Potterstead, Sagunto, Bastillion. What's the zoom button actually? Because I received an option to like I have a mechanical mask with power gadget, zoom left out. Okay, it doesn't work in this dream. Is that like a premonition of a type of enemy that I'm going to face later on? It's like a guy on stilts. Interesting.
Days that follow, your trials will be great, Corvo. Seek the ancient runes bearing my mark in the lonely places of your world, and at shrines raised in my name. These runes will grant you powers beyond those of other men. To help you find these runes, I give you this, the heart of a living thing, molded by my hands. With this heart, you will hear many secrets, and it will guide you toward my runes, no matter how they may be hidden. Listen to the heart now, and find another rune.
Equipping the heart in your left hand helps you locate bone charms or runes, even through walls. The heart beats and lights up when you're facing a bone charm or rune, and it beats faster as you get closer. The heart will whisper to you if you press right mouse button while targeting a person or a location. Okay, I can already tell it's going to take me ages, because let me warn you, I am going to stop at every NPC and see what the heart has to tell me about that person, you know, in their innermost thoughts. So that might take a while.
This place is the end of all things, and the beginning. All of time's meaning is here. Neither seconds, nor centuries. Someday this place will devour all the lights in the sky. The one who walks here is all things. Cradle songs of comfort and bones gnawed by teeth. This is the place from which those who dabble in black arts draw their power. And this place is their doom. I can feel a great age ending. This place is the end of all things, and the beginning. All of time's meaning is here. Neither seconds, nor centuries. Someday this place
Okay, so
will
it just
devour all the
repeats.
lights in the sky.
I would prefer if it just stopped once I heard everything of value that it has to say, but you know, I guess I can't be picky. Oh! Okay, so that's how the runes look, I guess. You've collected some runes. Open the journal and go to the power sections to exchange them for powers. Runes can be used and collected to acquire supernatural powers. Okay, so what do I have to dark vision. See in the dark and see living beings through walls, including their fields of vision. Representations of sounds that you make are also visible. Mana consumption very low. Okay, upgrading blink costs 3. Possession allows control of an animal target for a short duration. This is not very useful with regards to the fact that I don't want to kill anyone. Although I guess maybe it would be useful because I could like literally step out of my way. Bend time slows time for a short duration. Okay, this is very cool, but it costs 2. Devouring swarm. Summon a swarm of rats that will attack others, then disperse after a short duration. Okay, I don't want this. Wind blast can push back or knock back enemies and shatter doors. My health is increased. So those are passives then. Mana consumption none. Build up adrenaline, then trigger brutal melee fatalities. Okay, not going for this one. Jump height is increased and falling damage is reduced. This is cool. Unaware enemies who don't see you turn to ash as they die. Okay, not useful because I don't want to kill them. When I'm getting attacked, I've already kind of screwed up, so I maybe would like to save the rune and wait for the others to upgrade something. Although the dark vision might be useful. Yeah, I guess I'll take it. Press this to see in the dark and reveal things through walls. You can also see their fields of view as well as a visual representation of the sound you make. Level 2 shows you important items through walls like security devices, weapons, ammo, coins, keys or traps. Okay.
How you use what I have given you falls upon you, as it has to the others before you. And now I return you to your world, but know that I will be watching with great interest.
I am a little curious. I should probably hide that mark, right? If the outsider is like Satan. Use the heart to find a rune. Yeah, that was in fact the very first thing I was going to do anyway. See if there's anything, you know, on the premises nearby. Bone charm. What does it do? Is it just to restore mana? Bone charms provide small supernatural benefits. Locate them by listening for the song they emit. By default, you can activate up to 3 bone charms at once. Okay, so mystical fish artifact. Okay, that's pretty weird. Excuse me. Rumors and sightings, Dode. For over a year now, I have lived away from the Abbey, without the company of my overseer brethren, or the guidance of the blind sisters of the oracular order. Days have passed with me sleeping in the dens of cutpurses, murderers and worse, and the nights have seen me prowling through the worst alleys and wretched corners of Dunwall. I have taken my meals with killers. At times I have ventured beyond the city walls, meeting in the forgotten graveyards and outlying ruins frequented by those of ill means. My beard has grown long, and I wear the wretched clothing of bits of boiled leather favored by the Bottle Street and Hatter gangs, and by those rough men and women who make their trade knifing each other in return for coin. My hands have turned red with blood, it's true, but I have selected my targets with care, choosing amongst those criminals and heretics who were not fit to live, executing them justly and using their deaths as a means of building my reputation. So far this trick has allowed me to make my name among my murderous colleagues without taking the lives of the innocent. My goal is singular. I must impress the assassin named Dodd in order to get close to him. Of all of the practitioners of black magic we have tracked, none concern the Abbey as much as Dodd. It is said that his mother was a witch from one of the archipelagos off of the Pendician coast, taken captive by pirates venturing far from the Isles. According to the legend, by the time the ship returned, the captain was dead and the witch controlled the crew, with Dodd still a shadow in her belly. The earliest stories tell of a gang killer without mercy, moving among the shopkeepers and the city watch officers of Dunwall like a reaper through wheat. Then a period of silence followed. Years we now believe he has spent traveling the Isles, studying anatomy and the occult in the great halls of learning and in hidden basements frequented by fellow dabblers in forbidden arts. Dodd is even purported to have spent a winter in the Academy of Natural Philosophy itself, and for a time, before a schism developed, he counted the Brigamore witches among his allies. All the while he honed his craft, and it is during that time we believe he has begun to consort with the outsider. Now reports emerged of a dusky-skinned assassin paid by the elite to eliminate their rivals in Dunwall and in other major cities across the Isles. Those who saw him and lived numbered in the handful, but all of them reported something strange. He appeared and vanished like smoke. From a nearby rooftop he gestured, and a noblewoman stumbled from her balcony, falling to her doom on the cobblestones below. More recently, as this new threat of plague has risen on Dunwall, Dodd has been seen leading a gang of men in dark leather, dressed as factory whalers in their vapor masks. They seem loyal beyond comprehension for one so unworthy, leading me to wonder if some magic is dictated to lulling their minds, enslaving them. Only a month ago, a young girl claims to have come upon a strange curse. Carrying a bottle of milk to her crippled brother, she was taking a shortcut through the tailor's district. In a narrow street, she passed beneath a window and heard unusual sounds from within. Pushing aside the ratty curtain, the girl saw into an abandoned apartment used by miscreants for gambling and trading haberweed. An occult shrine has been erected against the far wall, which he recognized from the teachings given by the local overseer. A man she described as resembling Dodd was kneeling before the shrine, muttering to an unseen spirit, as if in argument. He took a carving made of pale bone from the altar before him, and the lights all went out in a gush of unclean wind. Quiet as a field mouse, she slipped away, running until she reached her home. There can be no doubt. Dodd is an agent of the outsider and must die, for there is no limit to the evil this man can do. This is my solemn oath, and the great purpose of my life. Until Dodd is dead, and his corruption has been purged from the world, I will continue to move amongst the depraved, winding my way towards him. I will not drop my guise or don my overseer's mask again until Dodd breathes no more. What's interesting though is I wonder how did all of those things find their way here? Like, they clearly weren't here before I went to bed. Survey notes: the royal spy. From the personal memoirs of Hiram Burroughs. This is the 4th day, month of high cold. Progress continues on the suppression of gang activity in the distillery district, but more slowly than I would expect it. The ruffians operating here have been cunning, I'll grant them that, but it's only a matter of time. I'll see their leaders flogged in public and sent beneath the royal executioner's blade. If I had my way, that mute bastard would be working night and day, removing the heads that need removing. Internally, the Empress does not seem pleased with my investigations. It seems that it is beyond her thinking, against her very nature as a trusting person, to believe that traitors move among us, but I know they do. They must. No, Jessamine would rather spend her time with the royal protector. At least he's likely to stop any immediate threat to her safety, but a strong arm is not what's needed against those who would undermine us. How will Corvo's sword stop a poisoned wine glass or an explosive delivered by courier? It will not. There are many threats around us, threats requiring meticulous efforts to police. Young Lady Emily is undisciplined, I'm afraid. Here within Dunwall Tower, she receives instruction from the finest tutors I've known in the Isles, and yet her mother spoils her and spends most of her time in imagination, wasting her time drawing or asking Corvo to teach her to fight with wooden sticks. That girl might rule the Empire someday. Every moment spent at play is a moment wasted. Shoring up the security for the main gate leading into Dunwall Tower has been another pet project of late. To think that back in the day of the Emperor back in his day, Emperor Kaldwin left it open to the public during the day, allowing anyone to come and go as they pleased. If it were up to me, I would seal off the access to the streets entirely, but the Empress won't hear of it. The waterlock is much easier to protect, and if it were the only way to enter the tower, traffic in and out would be greatly reduced. Someday, the wrong person is going to slip in, and we're all going to suffer for it, mark my words. No amount of security is excessive when it comes to protecting the heads of state. The Empress also disapproves of my plans for the Sokolov devices. Sokolov himself has no interest in security, of course, but he's vain, and therefore keen to see his inventions deployed in any fashion. This wall of light he's been tinkering with has a promise. In any case, at least, I was able to convince the Empress to upgrade the pistols carried by the officers of the watch. Why do I worry so, when no one else seems to care? If I ever fall asleep, will it all sink into the ocean? Will the rough things clamber over the walls and fill themselves on our flesh? This is what I see in the same dream several times each month. If only I had more say in things, more authority, I could protect us all. Perhaps I've been working too hard. Dinner and an evening of conversation with a certain lady of refinement might be in order, perhaps somewhere nice in the Estates district. Royal Spy Master.
Somewhere in the basements below, hound kills hound, and money changes hands.
Yeah, I'll listen to all of the muttering soon enough, but first let me read the other books. Wow, those are all pretty long. Except from a letter sent by a member of the Bottle Street gang. You want the chin wagon Slackjaw, what he was like when he was young, before he got his name. Oh, he's a cool head now, but it weren't always like that in the days before he was the boss of the Bottle Street gang. Time was, young Slackjaw wasn't such a reasonable man. Like most of us, he grew up in the streets, running with a pack of ragamuffins and avoiding the law, pinching whatever he needed, dark-haired and dark-eyed, smoking a pipe by the age of 10. For them born in the brothels or coming out of the orphanages, it was either the gangs or working with the mudlarks, and no one wants that. Some got pressed into the navy or put down in the mines run by the Pendleton or Boyle families. As hard as it was on the streets, as hungry as we all got, at least we was free. By the time we weren't little ones anymore, Slackjaw was one to watch, usually calling the shots when we took down a farmer's cart or a sidewalk street vendor. He would come up with a plan, give everyone some part to play and decide on the split. Most of us just went along, as we learned fast that we made out better like that, more food, more coin, plus none of us wanted to deal with Slackjaw when he was in a rage. He worked on a couple of big jobs with Black Sally across town, and that was enough to get the attention of the other bosses. He wasn't just a street kid anymore. Now he was an up-and-comer, which meant trouble. Another guy fancied himself such was Mike the Fish, who was working his way up, running the protection racket among the factory women. One fine evening, we were all taking in a bawdy show in a theater house. Mike the Fish and his lot are there in cheap are there in cheap seats too, just down the aisle from us. Mike gets a wild idea, he wasn't that big on planning, and throws a heavy ceramic spittoon at Slackjaw, hits him square in the face, and breaks his jaw. We look to see if there's going to be a blood brawl, but Slackjaw just points at the door and we all leave, with Mike laughing at our backs. Waking up the next day without telling us why, Slackjaw mentions for all of us to follow. He still can't say a word, so we just come along. We stop at the docks and Slackjaw actually pays coin for it, a heavy chain covered in hooks. It's for fishing in the deep, something you would attach to a long line at the side of a ship. It's about 4 feet, made of thick links, and there are shark hooks coming off of it at different angles. Slackjaw has that thing wrapped around his left arm, dangling at his side. Not sure how he knew where Mike the Fish was staying, but when we reached his girl's house, Slackjaw throws a bottle through the window just like that. It's almost noon. There's a bunch of screaming inside, and Mike pokes his head out, looking wide-eyed and baffled. When he sees Slackjaw out in the street, a look comes over his face that still gives me the willies. Pure murder. Mike comes out the side door bellowing like a blood ox, holding a cleaver, heading straight for Slackjaw. When they come together in the street, Slackjaw spins and the shark hooks bite deep into Mike's arms and shoulder. He screams, but Slackjaw holds onto the chain. He's standing there with his jaw broken, clenched tight, with the chain wrapped around his left arm, hooks sunk into Mike the Fish, just knifing him as fast as he can. Mike couldn't fight very well, hooked like that, and using his left hand, but he was a big guy and it took a lot of stabbing before he went to his knees. Everyone was cheering at first, but then all went quiet as it just kept going and going until it finally was just Mike the Fish blubbering, crying like a baby, and the sound of Slackjaw's knife. When it was all over, and here's the brilliant part, Slackjaw took a note and stuck it to Mike's face with a nail. It just said, "If you want a job, come to Bottle Street." Slackjaw didn't talk for a couple of months, but the word spread fast. By the end of the year, once we had a sizable gang going, he sent out letters to the other bosses, telling them that he was running a brand new crew on Bottle Street. Most of them laughed or beat up the guys who delivered the letters. Green-Eyed Trish even came back missing a thumb. But apparently Slackjaw was expecting that kind of reaction and had a backup plan. A week later, 4 of the bosses were dead. Seemed like a series of unfortunate events, but everyone knew better. One shot dead by the watch while standing in the middle of a meat market, another sleeping and falling into the water out cold, and one of the older bosses found in a bed with his belly opened wide and a Tevian pear stuffed into his mouth. Still not sure what that meant, and Sheila Barnsworth was found bubbling in a cauldron of hot wax. Slackjaw sent another set of letters, offered to the underbosses, telling them they would be treated fair as peers. He even sent Green-Eyed Trish with one of the letters. All of the underbosses accepted. After spilling the guts of his main competition, Slackjaw went in for stabilizing his business, real neat-like, calling in favors, suiting things over, giving everyone a little bit of coin or drink as a bonus, showing what he could be like as a boss. So everything got quiet, which always makes the boys of the City Watch nervous, of course. Word went out among the Royal Spymaster Snitches, the Responsible Citizens Group as they call themselves, telling everyone working a shop or sweeping off the front steps of their homes to keep watchful eyes for Slackjaw and his men, trying to suss out what they were up to and what has just happened. But Slackjaw ain't stupid. He greased a few palms amongst the shopkeepers in the watch too, telling them that he was in town to stay and that things would be run properly from now on, without so much blood. He was finally a real boss, ready to settle into the business of moving whiskey, running the hound fights, and offering up the ladies and gentlemen of the night, if you take my meaning. And then the plague came. Okay, there's another book. Here. Journal of Granny Rags. Excerpts from a rambling of a street denizen. Of course I'll tell you, dearie. I won't keep any secrets from you in the end. All of the dreary days of my life are like windows of a house. From the kitchen, I can see out into the garden where the leaves and stalks are brown and bug-eaten. You can see a little lump of dirt where something was wrapped in a blanket and laid to rest among the rows of twisting vines. The front room looks out into the street, where the neighbors are all setting fires to their home, barricading themselves inside, warm and snug, dearie. Don't forget the bedroom either. It sees into the dreary alley where the hooligans are playing a game with an old man. The first two are hitting them with sticks, and the girl with them is kicking at his dry old ribs. Oh, to have these bones, to boil them in a pot. Okay. That's a bit disturbing. No one lives in my house anymore, dearie. No one you would want to meet. When I lived there with my husband, we were fine people. Vera more, everyone would say. Your house is as grand as Boyle Manor, even better. Your dinners are lavish and your parties are the best. When that young Sokolov came to paint my portrait, I was still in my prime. Radiant, he said, and he was just barely a man, so young, painting all of the best people across the land. Everyone wanted a portrait by his hand, all my friends. I was the only one, dearie, wet with his point, glistening on the canvas for a pretty coin. But it wasn't all parties and paintings. My husband and I weren't always at home, no. We traveled together, he and I, for the far end of the Isles, beyond even all the way to the red cliffs of Pandyssia, to dig the rock and crawl through the caves, holding up candles and squinting at the walls. Many precious things we come upon, but none so precious as the boy with the black eyes, dearie. All those marks and bones, carved so deep and polished so bright. I brought the old bones home, hid them from my husband. Then I learned to boil them and carve them myself. They made such good presents that mute little boy took them home. He loved them so. All the time he came back for new bones for me, with new bones for me, holding them up so I could see it in his eyes, even though his tongue was still. Granny, his eyes would say to me, carve these bones for me, make me another present. And so we went so far, all the way to Dunwall Tower, and he went so far, all the way to Dunwall Tower, the royal headsman himself now. My little mute boy and his shiny, shiny sword. Better bones were what I needed, you see. Better bones to carve and polish, scrape and gleam. My dear old husband wasn't always tired. I made him soup, and then he was sick. Better bones. It was all. For my little mute boy, carved in the name of the one with the black eyes. After my husband was gone, given away as birthday gifts, I didn't want to live there anymore. So now I'm old and I don't have many to give presents to. It's sifting through the garbage for Granny Rags and feeding the little birdies that gather at my feet. No one wants to have tea, dearie, especially those rude louts on Bottle Street, Slackjaw and his boys, always meddling with an old woman, just trying to make her way. In the end, we'll be together with him. You and me in the dreary night with stars above and below, and the one with the black eyes. And always the one with the black eyes. Okay, so she was some kind of a witch who made, I assume she's referring to those bone pendants, those bone charms. She made them, and it's also heavily implied that he killed her own husband and then made his bones into those bone charms. Like, she poisoned him. And also, apparently, she was friends with the executioner. That's pretty interesting. Like, I guess, he wasn't executioner back then, but she was friends with the boy who became the executioner in the end. Okay, let's listen to what the heart has to say.
Such laughter, and they're singing the old songs, linking arms. But that was from a happier time. Deals are made here, sometimes under the influence of wine, and sometimes the influence is the point of a knife. Before the sun rises, they toss any casualties into the river, men or hound. They all go in. They top off the wine with river water, but eventually someone swoons. Then fresh bottles are fetched from the cellars. Their fate rests on your effort, on the strength of your hands and of your heart. They stood in a circle around the candles and cut their hands to form their alliance. The blood hissed as it touched the flames. The conspirators have found a safe home here. They take great care that they are not followed. The ale here is sweetened with honey to hide the taste of river brine. The sober speak in whispers, the drunk bellow. Fortunes have been won here, and lives have been lost. The old man claimed a dark corner and drank himself into oblivion. The hounds were the first to find him. They are burning whales. Somewhere in the basements below.
Okay, this starts to repeat. There's a rune in this direction. I will go and look for it, of course. Just lying on the rocks like that? Play your way powers. The powers you obtain from the runes can be used creatively to defeat enemies or move through the environment. Blink from roof to roof, possess rats and fish, or slow time before rushing a group of enemies. Okay, there's another rune on the other side. Also, does it tell me something different if I listen to the heart out here?
Such laughter, and they're singing the old songs, linking arms. But that was from a happier time. Deals are made here.
Nope.
Sometimes under the influence of wine.
I guess it all counts as a single location.
Is the point of a knife.
Okay, there was supposed to be another rune on the other side of the building. Does it work on... it was said it works on people as well, right?
Each and every night the black-eyed outsider visits upon Piero's dreams. He is Piero Joplin. Even now he visualizes the next invention. Astonishing. I wish you could see it too. Poor Piero. His elixirs have cured so much for so many, but they cannot cure his great fears. The youngest ever to pass through the Academy of Natural Sciences. Sokolov will never forgive him that. He has spied upon Callista as she bathes, more than once. Each and every
okay, I would prefer not to know that he's a creep, but oh well. I guess that's what the heart does. It tells me secrets of people.
Attention, Dunwall citizens. Do not attempt.
Okay, I don't want to talk to him yet, because I want to find the other rune. Like, I'm pretty sure there were two. Okay, maybe I'm mistaken. Maybe there was ever only one. Huh. Okay, let's check out those bone charms. They supposedly... okay, I have one rune. Upgrading this costs 2. Power effects slightly improved. I can equip 3, right? White rats can be consumed for mana. White rats won't attack you. Sword contests you win more frequently. Damage from explosions reduced. Shot whiskey bottles explode with greater intensity. Breath capacity improved. Breaking glass sound is moderately reduced. Moderate keyhole peeping magnification. Swim speed increased. Enemies miss more often with arrows and bolts. Okay, I'll take that. Drop assassination gives you a bit of health. I don't want that. Power effects improved. I'll take this. And white rats can be consumed for mana. Wait, but you said I can only equip 3. What are you talking about? Supposedly I can include 7? Oh, no, because... Wait, activate, remove. No, I'm a bit confused. I'm pretty sure it said I can have 3 activated. Oh well.
He spies on his neighbors and reports to the overseers. Only after a long day of work will he return to his home and family. Before the sun rises, they toss any casualties into the river. Men or hound, they all go in. They top off the wine with river water, but eventually someone swoons. Then fresh bottles are fetched from the cellars. He always eats very well, even as his wife and child grow thin. It is in the common man that the Abbey finds its most faithful. He steals from his business partner, a little every day. Some men can still find work along the waterfront. He didn't tend to that cut, and now it festers. A man is only as common as his dreams. All that he had was lost in the flood. Only after a long day of work.
So supposedly, according to the heart, he's a spy for the overseers and also dying from an infested wound. But then I'm not sure how much can I trust the heart, because it was literally given to me by Satan in a dream.
Attempt to approach or destroy a river crust. Any items recovered from doing so are considered state property.
And in fact, if I was Satan, it would be a pretty cool plan to give people a heart and tell them, it tells you other people's like deeply held secrets, but it's actually all lies. So you know, for example, about this guy, it told me that he's a spy and he like doesn't care for his family.
She hides her hands. They are raw and scarred from the washing. Their fate rests on your effort, on the strength of your hands and of your heart. The common woman, she fears the Abbey and the plague. They stood in a circle around the candles and cut their hands to form their alliance. The blood hissed as it touched the flames. The conspirators have found a safe home here. They take great care that they are not followed. She is a seamstress in a shop frequented
Attention
by women.
Dunwall citizens. River
There
traffic
is
is
nothing
forbidden
common
from
about
landing
the work
unless
she
in
does
delivery
every day.
due to risk of
All
infectious
she wants
contact.
is to lay
Violators
herself
will
down
be
in the
taken to
middle
the
of
flooded
the
district
street
for treatment and
and await
rehabilitation.
death. The fabric of the city is made of stuff such as she. She starves so that her children can have bread. The common folk, simple-minded, selfish, but they can be kind. She has only one dress and wears it to tatters.
Well, she actually very
Lydia and I
specifically...
trade chores sometimes, and I'm starting to think I never come out ahead. She's a smart one.
She very specifically wears what you would consider back in the day men's clothing. She has pants and like a jacket.
The common woman, she fears the abbey and the plague.
There should be another one. Another one of those maids.
The other servants don't like her. Work is never done for the lowly servant. Her servant wages will not be enough to fix her father's debts. For all the hard work, there is little reward for her. If she lives until tomorrow, her day off, she will be mauled by weepers and left for dead. Do not pity the servant. There is pride in the job well done. There is not a day that goes by she does not consider taking her own life. The household is treated poorly, but there are worse ways to earn a coin. The pain in her back is constant. Nothing helps. Work is never done for the lowly servant. For all the hard work, there is little reward for her. Do not pity the servant. There is pride in the job well done.
No, actually, there's still this guy.
I hope you're well rested. The Admiral has some adventures in store for you, but only he knows the details. I'm forbidden from ferrying you anywhere unless the Admiral says to do so. He's up in the common room. You'd better speak to him. Admiral Havelock is asking to speak to you. I think he's in the common room. I'm ready any time, but you better ask Admiral Havelock exactly where you're going.
I am a bit perturbed.
Darn slow these days.
Nobody
River's soaking
questions the fact that I'm holding a disembodied heart.
Samuel Beechworth
Strange
went
little
to
Eddie
sea
here.
to forget a hopeless
Think
love.
maybe a riverboat went
He
under.
succeeded. The boatman has a good heart and respects you. Samuel is a simple
Yarrow
man,
made a
but he
sexton for
knows
me
the
once,
River Redhaven and
but I
all
told
its
him I lost
tributaries.
it. Truth is, I
Down to
was
the
never good
smallest
at
inlet.
calculating.
He has many scars, some from the phlegm of the river crusts, some from the
I wish I
nameless
could attend
monsters
services
of the
again.
Marsh.
The plague has everything shut down, and the overseers might have lost their way a bit if you were to ask me. Care more about witchcraft and the like nowadays than keeping common folk happy.
Samuel was once eager to hear Havelock's stories of the sea, but perhaps the Admiral is not
I hate
what he
that feeling.
expected.
When you're bumping up against a body.
Samuel Beechworth went to sea to forget a hopeless love. He succeeded.
Okay, let's talk to the Admiral and see what my next task is going to be.
Well, let's get down to it. First off, I know that assassination is dark business, but sometimes good men have to do bad things to make the world right. Our purpose is clear. We want to restore Her Majesty's line by finding and putting Emily Kaldwin on the throne. To those ends, we'll hide, act in shadow, take them apart, piece by piece. Tonight, High Overseer Campbell dies by your hand. It won't be easy. He's protected by his overseers, an army of religious zealots. But if anyone can do it, you can. Your exploits are legendary. Campbell carries a private journal. Once you've eliminated him, get the journal, because we think it contains Emily's location. Recovering her is obviously critical, assuming she's alive. That's the gist of it. Remember our cause and strike true. We're counting on you. Another thing. Campbell is holding a former overseer by the name of Martin. He's one of us, and if you manage to find him, give him whatever help you can. He's a master strategist, and he got caught working for our cause. It'd be good to have him back here at the Hound Pits. Glad to see you got your rest, Corvo. You'll need it. Say, that's an interesting tattoo on your hand. Saw a lot of that in the Navy, but nothing quite like yours. Keep your eye out for Martin. I need him back here if we're going to pull this off.
Admiral Havelock has seen more corpses than all the rest put together.
High Overseer Campbell tricked and bullied his way into power. The man is completely corrupt. The City Watch and the Overseers can't stand each other. The military doesn't mix well with a bunch of religious fanatics. You might be able to use that. Nervous? I would be. Tonight is the beginning of a new life for you. But you're killing for a just endeavor. Remember that. High Overseer Campbell is a bastard, and we've got to find Emily. The Overseers are a strange bunch, completely obsessed with the 7 strictures and hunting down heresy. I don't know if I believe in all that witchcraft bunk, but I saw some odd things at sea.
He has killed whales and men for profit and in pleasure. He has the bloodlust. He tried to seize control of the military after the Empress. After she, the Empress, was murdered. Look at him. Admiral Havelock grows restless on land. There was a younger brother, an artist, sensitive, soft, taken at 9 by a fever. Havelock loved him truly. Admiral Havelock has seen more corpses than all the rest put together.
The exquisite tall boy, except from a public letter of concern by anonymous authors, we have read what we have read here is the truth. And no matter what you hear from the so-called authorities who rule over us, it is not a matter of coincidence that the former royal spymaster is the one who stepped in when the late Empress fell. We, who shall remain nameless, believe that these events are interconnected. The signs of oppression are all around us. The circle of designs, originally intended to provide light and warmth in our homes, have been turned against us as a means of inspiring fear and controlling our movement through the city. And where did this plague originate? Some say it was imported. A wild theory? Perhaps. One of our members risked her life to obtain the internal report from the government, which we will be printing and sharing soon, called The Exquisite Tall Boy, extolling the virtues of the newest member of the City Watch. To those in the street below, those virtues are horrors spread by stilted thugs who rain down fire on sick and the poor. To these eyes, the Tall Boy is another government bully, armed with incendiary devices, thickly armored and standing high overhead, looking down at the common people of the city. We know that the Tall Boys are heavily drugged, imbibing a substance that renders them resistant to pain, but also dulls whatever empathy they may normally possess. Exquisite? We think not. Copy these words and share them with your neighbors, and remember, when the tides are lowest, the truth will be revealed. Okay, so the guy on the stilts is an actual enemy. I will check with Piero again to see if maybe he has some more things that I can buy from him. And after that, I think I will actually go out into the streets, because that's not where I'm... sure, in a second. That's not where I'm supposed to be going. I'm supposed to be going with the boat guy.
What can I do for you?
Oh, he has a rune. Wait, how do I have so many coins? What's going on? Did they give me coins? Okay, I'll buy the rune, of course. Rewire tool allows you to rewire circuitry and turn security systems to your advantage. I'll buy a couple of those. Disable security devices or make them work in your favor by using a rewire tool on the circuitry panel. Rewired alarms will be disabled. Yeah, I'll buy a couple of those. It might be pretty useful, but I'm not sure how did I get so much money? Yeah, it says enables 1 additional bone charm to be active, total 4, but I have 7, so how do I know which ones even work? I need to... total 6. I need to take another look at that. So there is no visual difference between the first 6 and the last one. So how do I know? How do I know which ones work? Okay, I'll keep it at 6 because that's the only way I can be certain that they are going to work. And I can upgrade Blink, or I can get Bend Time. What does another level of this? Seeing that, what does it give me? Okay, let me save just in case I accidentally do something, because I can't scroll down. Like I want to learn what this does on another level. See in the dark and see living beings, representations of sounds, blah blah blah. See useful objects and security through the walls. Okay, this costs 3. You know what? I might go for agility. Jump height is increased and falling damage is reduced. Because you know the passive abilities are good in a way because they don't require micro on my part, and I'm pretty bad at micro. Like, you know, I don't have to actively remember to use them because they just work. Piero's door to nowhere. The door to nowhere has proven to be a safety hazard, but for me this project is an endless source of inspiration. With the proper application of energies, I believe I can transform my door frame into a window of sorts, so that will allow a traveler to cover a distance from my workshop to some distant arbitrary point. Currently the step leads to a sheer drop, straight down into the courtyard, but in time it will bridge gaps that will boggle the mind. Such work is many years away, to be sure, but if I survive the plague, I'm sure to succeed. So it is a teleport, basically. Interesting. I will go out to the streets, but first, let me talk to that woman who wants to talk to me.
Corvo, there's something... Corvo, hello. I'm Callista. I work here for Admiral Havelock. I'm sorry to intrude on your business, but this is important. I suspect you're going to kill the High Overseer, that wretched man. There's really no reason for you to listen to me, but my uncle, Jeff Kernow, still serves as captain in the City Watch. But he's a good man, and my only family. The chatter in servant circles is that Campbell just took delivery of an exotic poison, and I think I know why. My uncle's not corruptible like the rest of them. Campbell is going to poison my uncle. Do you think you could protect him? You used to do that, right? Before you had your current profession. Before you became an assassin.
Yeah, I will try, definitely.
She She is Callista Kernow.
I overheard the Admiral
She
at
is
breakfast
going to defend
talking
herself
about
in
the
this treacherous
Overseers.
city.
That's all I heard. And I think it's better if I don't know too much about what you people are doing.
She and her uncle, the last of the Kernow family. She dreams of freedom, and the decks of whaling ships fast after the beasts of the sea.
He's my uncle,
Alas.
and he means a lot to me.
She's a woman.
His name is Jeff Kernow. Captain Jeff Kernow.
Such sadness. She is Callista Kernow.
You traveled with my
She
uncle,
is going to
didn't
defend
you?
herself in this
Doing
treacherous
something for
city.
the Empress.
Okay, I do want to get out into the streets because it's not my actual objective. So anything I do around here is basically side content, and I am very interested in side content.
The ale here is sweetened with honey to hide the taste of the river brine.
Oops. It didn't quite work. Now report any sickness. Hiding the plague is punishable by death. Okay, there's not much of a street really. Obey the city watch. It's just like a street corner. Abandoned apartment, key needed. We are the only authorized agents for Harold Blythe's hand-carved limb in this part of the city. If you or a loved one has lost a limb at sea, waging war against the terrible beasts there, you will be delighted with Mr. Blythe's work. We accept coin only, no
Stay alert
trade.
and stay loyal.
Okay, more advertisement, which I have already looked on. Yeah, so there really isn't much of a street corner. I guess I'm ready to go then. Okay, I can't get up there, at least not for the time being. guess I am ready to go, but I will go next time because this episode has been long enough. So I'm going to save and end it for now. That's all for this one, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.